do with personal characteristics within yourself that you would need in order to be a success in the medical profession?
Yes. I think that it might sound cliche, but there's a few characteristics I think that are important to be a doctor. One of them is self-discipline, and that would carry on from from the first question when we talked about, setting aside time for extra time to work on things, for example, extra lessons or extra YouTube videos to help supplement your learning. And this is because I think people find that there's a huge jump between being a learner, like a high school learner, and then becoming a varsity student. And then even after that, from becoming a varsity student to becoming an intern, a medical intern, which you have to be in our South African program. And then even after becoming an intern to becoming a community service officer, and then after that, a medical officer or a registrar or things like that. And I think that people find that a lot of the learning and development is actually self-directed. So if you do not have self-discipline, you will expect to be spoon-fed, as we said. And then we find that that's where the difference lies, where people struggle and where people thrive, in my opinion. So for example, when you're a varsity student, you'll have the self-discipline to, okay, you go to lectures or do things on your own, or like have a specific routine, consistency that will help you to be used to learning things on your own. Um, then when you go to internship, you are used to sort of trying to pick up things on your own, because again, no one's going to spoon feed you. Then when you become a fully fledged doctor, then it's easier because of that self-discipline that you've built up or that you've had consistently to learn things on your own. Not everything is going to be handed to you. That's number one. So then number two, you'd have to be, what is the word? When you, oh, show initiative. Show initiative. Yes, it goes hand in hand again, showing initiative. So I think that from what I've seen, the best students are show initiative in that they ask the questions, like say on the ward round or in the classroom, they ask questions so that they can clarify things that maybe they're not that they're missing out on or that they don't understand. They offer to do things. So, for example, if arbitrarily there is like a procedure, maybe taking blood as a student, they will be the ones that offer to do that. Maybe they don't know how to do it, that's okay, but they will offer and then they'll be given the opportunity to do that. And then in the future, when there is a procedure, the senior doctors are going to think of those students that offered and give them the opportunities to learn. So we would find that people that show initiative get more opportunities to learn and to get better than people that don't. And it's not necessarily because we don't want to give other people opportunities. It's just that those are the people that will be in our minds when we think, oh, who would want to learn how to do this? And then they also become more, they have better skills and things like that because they are just always there. They show up. And then, yes, very cliche, empathy, having empathy. Everyone says that they are kind and that they have empathy, but you really see the difference in real life practice. It is one thing to have a very romanticized image of medicine, like, oh, wow, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to help everyone. Oh, it's going to be great. And then when you're really there in a rural healthcare setting where you have no resources, you have no support, the system doesn't work how you thought it would. It's not, Grey's Anatomy or whatever is showing these days, and they have everything. It's a first world. This is not, unfortunately, first world medicine that we practice, especially in the state. When all of that comes and you still have to show kindness and empathy to the patient that, has to travel 5 kilometers by foot to come and see you and then wait for hours and hours in line, are you still going to treat them with the respect that they deserve? Or are you going to be thinking, oh, I just want to get home, or oh, everything sucks, everything's terrible, there's no resources, there's no water, there's no this. So you really see the doctors that care about their patients in those circumstances, especially because it's easy to have empathy when everything is going well. But when it's not, then yeah, and the patients really need that. They need an empathetic doctor and not an impatient doctor that won't listen to them, because then we get even things like misdiagnoses because the doctor's not listening because now they're frustrated, trying to be able to separate your inner emotions from the situation and not project that onto a patient would be another personality trait. And it's not easy. These are just, this is like ideal situations that I'm saying like a person should have this and this and this, but it is not easy. We're human beings, and I understand that, life comes into play and people will become frustrated, but it is helpful to try and practice those traits. Another one that I wanted to mention is emotional maturity. So from a very young age, if I imagine now I was 17 when I started med school, like you're a teenager, sometimes depending on the varsity that you're at, you're going to be thrown into a situation where you see, for example, a patient that has now been assaulted sexually, or an abandoned child, or trauma. So, for example, someone has assaulted someone physically, and you see the effects of that on them, or you see drunk driving and the effects of that, or it's all the societal issues. You see them in a healthcare setting, and often that is to do with socioeconomic status. So, the level of income of a specific area, but there are other factors that come into play. Some people don't have access to care, and then that causes more conditions than others. So it really, really makes you to grow emotionally, or have a higher level of emotional intelligence than your peers maybe at a younger age. And if you're not ready for that, if you're not emotionally mature, sometimes that can like break you down as well. Because it's very depressing to see all of the societal issues all at once from such a young age. I feel like I've been rambling a bit, but hopefully if I can recap: self-discipline, emotional